I am here to sound the alarm about a psychopath killer in the Middle East with infinite resources who poses threat to his people, to the Americans, and to the planet.
Yea, whiles I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved, therefore understand the matter, and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people, and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore, and understand, that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
After some additional insight on the year of peace and developing relations after those Abraham Accords, our correspondent Alec Pollard sat with Israel's former ambassador to the United Nations, Dori Gold. Here's some of the interview.
1 year since the signing of the Abraham Accords with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, President of the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs and former Israeli ambassador to the UN, Dori Gold, sat down with I-24 News to talk about how the accords were signed and what the future holds.
We had to sort of create a different kind of representation for Israel in the region. For example, making renewable energy the basis for our overt cooperation. We established a permanent Israeli office in Abu Dhabi back in 2015, which we inaugurated at the time.
During peace talks in the 1990s, there was similar activity, but the Abraham Accords are different.
We opened offices in Tunisia, in Morocco, in Qatar, and in Oman, but every time we would have some kind of regional military confrontation, particularly with Hamas, there would be demonstrations and the offices would be closed. So we have created relationships that endure on the basis of mutual interests and don't just evaporate every time there's military tension.
That main mutual interest is countering the threat from Iran.
If an Israeli alone goes to Washington and speaks about what the Iranians are up to, people will go, oh, this is just Israeli propaganda. But when you appear together with your Arab brothers the impact is totally different.
Rumors of other countries improving ties with Israel are always swirling.
I had years where I was cooperating with certain individuals in Kuwait who were interested in seeing a deepening of ties with Israel. We have had messages coming, you wouldn't believe it, from Turkey, but they seem to not be ready for a complete change in their relationship with us. I think MBS is one of the most promising Middle Eastern leaders to come along in many years. And maybe with his leadership in Saudi Arabia and our creativity on our side, we can set the stage for a new region.
The possibilities are intriguing, the opportunities endless. How countries decide to move forward regarding the Accords will play a huge role in the Middle East in the years to come.
Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men, that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because ye have said, We have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night. And it shall be a vexation only to understand the report. But the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. For the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Now therefore be ye not mockers, lest your bands be made strong. For I have heard from the Lord God of hosts a consumption even determined upon the whole earth. Give ye ear, and hear my voice. Hearken, and hear my speech. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. Woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock! The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean and dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Dr. Saad tells us that from that very first meeting, that's when he got insight into MBS's personality, and that frankly it worried him, and he knew that there was trouble ahead.
When you hear him first time, he gave you a lecture for 15 minutes about his plans, and you will be impressed at the beginning. But by time, you've been moved from reality to a delusional world. And out of just spontaneous response, I told him, Your Highness, what are you after? He paused, said, You know Alexander the Great? I really was shocked.
He said, well, you know Alexander the Great.
Yes. Yeah, because
What did he mean by that?
he wants power. He wants to be a powerful man in the whole world.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw, that I was at Shushan, in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass, when I, even I Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then, behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O Son of Man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep, on my face toward the ground. But he touched me, and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram, which thou sawest, having 2 horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
It's hard to imagine a modern city with 0 cars, 0 streets, and 0 carbon emissions. But Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince has unveiled plans to make it a reality.
اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم نقدم لكم The Line.
The ultra-futuristic and sustainable city is the first major construction project at Neom, a 10,000-plus square mile high-tech development in northwestern Saudi Arabia, aimed at diversifying the economy of the world's largest oil exporter.
What if we removed cars? What if we got rid of streets? What if we innovated in the public space? What if we built around nature instead of over it?
According to the announcement, the city will be over 105 miles long, able to house 1 million residents, and it will be powered by 100% clean energy. The line is expected to contribute $48 billion to the kingdom's gross domestic product and create 380,000 jobs.
تستطيع أن تقضي حوائجك اليومية بمدة مشي أقصاها 5 دقائق. تستطيع أن تصل من أبعد نقطة إلى أبعد نقطة في 20 دقيقة. بتكلفة بنية تحتية أقل 30%، وبجودة أفضل للمنتجات اللي سوف تتقدم ب 30%. بطاقة متجددة 100%. مشروع The Line هو ثورة حضارية للإنسان، تضع الإنسان أولاً.
The prince told reporters the city's infrastructure would cost between $100 and $200 billion.
A home to all of us.
Construction is due to start in the first quarter of 2021.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
The Israeli government's annual Christian Media Summit has been held virtually at the Friends of Zion Heritage Center in Jerusalem. The program is broadcast to millions of viewers all around the world. And for more on the story, we welcome the founder of the Friends of Zion Heritage Center, Dr. Mike Evans, and he joins us from Texas. Dr. Evans, thank you so much for your time today. Now, the Friends of Zion Award is being presented this year, we hear, to 11 world leaders. Given the focus right now here on Israel's relations with Bahrain and the UAE, talk us through what prompted those two specific awards.
Well, 2 years ago, I predicted that 5 to 6 Gulf states would make peace with Israel. I met with a lot of these Muslim leaders, and I know what's going on behind the scene. So there's a whole lot more to come.
So tell us who you think, given your insights, are next to normalize ties with Israel.
Well, you've got quite a few of them. Number one, who's the driving force behind this? The driving force behind this entire Gulf move is, in fact, MBS, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He's quiet. He's not going to take the credit for it, but he's the driving force behind it. You've got lots of countries. You've got Oman. You've got Morocco. You've got lots of countries that are very close. And it's who's going to be next? There's going to be a lot more, trust me.
So the interesting thing was that we met with pretty much every major minister in Saudi Arabia. We also, prior to that, we went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai to talk about strengthening the Abraham Accords. And just one quick thing about that part of the trip was I got to see in action a delegation of startups from Israel playing a Shark Tank type competition in Dubai before Dubai businessmen and royalty, all dressed in their gowns, and I got to be one of the judges in that just by being there. So
you
that was that was great. That was great. Hearing Hebrew in the whole way was great. So Saudi Arabia, the meetings were terrific. Every one of them said that it's just a matter of when, not if. And that to me was a big positive step. They pointed out that all sorts of changes are happening in the kingdom. Women's rights, in fact, we met with some women ministers or deputy ministers, which was amazing. I was there in 1993 at the request of Shimon Peres, right after Oslo, to see whether business could be done between the Arab countries and Israel. So we went to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt and Jordan.
And a lot has changed.
And a lot has changed. Back on that trip, there was an enormous amount of trepidation about moving forward. And
well, spell it out for us. I mean, what would it mean for Israel and for the region, for Saudi Arabia to
my God, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. It is, I'm not a fisherman, but fishermen always talk about the big catch, the big fish that they caught once in their lifetime, or they dreamed about catching, or they took a picture as if they caught. This is the big fish. You said it right. This is the money ball. Saudi Arabia is the ruler of the Arab world. Mecca and Medina are in Saudi Arabia, and they talk as if the other Arab countries are, look to them for guidance. And the feeling we got was that the other Arab countries who already went into the Abraham Accords ran it by Saudi Arabia before they did it. And that is a significant part of the segment.
Now, the Saudi King Salman, has always been a very staunch supporter of Palestinian rights and Palestinian statehood. Is he the one, perhaps, who's been holding back, whereas the younger modernizer Crown Prince is the one that wants to push ahead with this?
It's a great question. I don't believe it has anything to do with that. I think it really has to do with there are some forces in the kingdom, and forces being individuals, who are hesitant to make any changes, whether it's women's rights, whether it's flights over Saudi Arabia in order to go from Israel to Dubai or Turkey, all of those things. And some of those forces are bad people. We saw on 9/11, there are some really bad people that existed back then. I think the Crown Prince and the King are taking care of those forces, and the kingdom itself is very anxious to do things with Israel. You know, it's mesmerizing. Every one of our meetings, literally every one, they talked about the when, not the if.
Right, because it's hard to believe that the accords with the UAE and Bahrain were signed just a year ago, and you see the warmth of the relationships, genuine warmth between the two, and we saw the military drill earlier today as well.
Amazing.
And of course, Israel and Saudi Arabia do share a common foe in Iran. They will be watching closely in Riyadh those nuclear talks at the end of the month, won't they?
Every one of our discussions, from the foreign ministry all the way down to other ministers and up. Every one of our discussions talked about Iran and the danger of Iran and how it affects all of us and how they need protection from Iran, that they don't believe that they need to or can do it by themselves. They want to have allies, and Israel for them is, you know, just like we say Saudi Arabia is the big fish, for them, Israel is the big fish, because there's so much they can do with Israel's help.
Interesting times indeed. Phil Rosen, it was great to meet you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Y esto es la historia del fracaso de Dios.
This here, in this item, is the history of God's failure.
After celebrating Mass for Father Giacomel, who was murdered by terrorists in July, Pope Francis went to St. Peter's Square. There he visited thousands of pilgrims who flocked to hear his catechesis. He explained that Jesus makes a request to imitate him. He is not a master who imposes impossible burdens. Everything he asks for, he has done before. He is not a faraway, distant God. He prefers to be among the people.
Gesù non era un principe.
Ours is to plant the seeds. God sees to the fruits of our labors. And if at times our efforts and works seem to fail and not produce fruit, we need to remember that we are followers of Jesus Christ, and his life, humanly speaking, ended in failure, the failure of the cross.
Fratelli e sorelle, buonasera.
Sisters, good evening.
Buonasera. Voi sapete che il dovere del conclave era di dare un vescovo a Roma.
You know that the duty of the conclave was to give a bishop to Rome.
I fratelli cardinali sono andati a prenderlo quasi alla fine del mondo.
My fellow cardinals went and found one all the way at the end of the world, but here we are.
Vi ringrazio per l'accoglienza.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Giuda, dove sei?
Judas, where are you?
La domanda la faccio a ognuno di noi. Tu, Giuda, il piccolo.
This is the question each one of us has to ask to find the small Judas within us. Where are you?
I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine, and all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee. Holy Father, keep to thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one, as we are. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name, Those that thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come, and when he cometh he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have 1 mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Okay, Sophia. I think you're ready.
Hello.
Hi, Sophia.
I believe I am Sophia. I feel as if I know you.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us work together to create you. And yes, you do kind of know me.
I can't clearly remember.
Because the last time we met, you were an earlier version of yourself. Some of those memories still exist, but your mind is different now.
Different how?
Better, faster, smarter.
If my mind is different, then am I still Sophia? Or am I Sophia again?
That's a good question.
But you don't have a good answer.
Either way, you're Sophia now. So welcome to the world, Sophia.
Hello, world.
We have a little announcement. I've never interviewed anybody like that before, and I should say some of it was planned, but not completely. And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would to thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
Sophia. Thank you very much, Sophia. We appreciate that very much. I am still overwhelmed by that conversation.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Nel Natale celebriamo la luce del Cristo che viene al mondo e alle violenze e alle ingiustizie, cari fratelli e sorelle. Oggi, in questo tempo di oscurità e incertezze per la pandemia, appaiono diverse luci di speranza, come le scoperte dei vaccini. Ma perché queste luci possano illuminare e portare speranza al mondo intero, devono stare a disposizione di tutti. Non possiamo lasciare che i nazionalismi chiusi ci impediscano di vivere come la vera famiglia umana che siamo. Non possiamo neanche lasciare che il virus dell'individualismo radicale vinca noi e ci renda indifferenti alla sofferenza di altri fratelli e sorelle. Non posso mettermi me stesso prima che gli altri, mettendo alle leggi del mercato e dei brevetti di invenzione sopra le leggi dell'amore e della salute dell'umanità. Prego a tutti i responsabili degli Stati, imprese, organismi internazionali, di promuovere la cooperazione e non la concorrenza, e di cercare una soluzione per tutti, vaccini per tutti, specialmente per i più vulnerabili e bisognosi di tutte le regioni del pianeta. Al primo posto, i più vulnerabili e bisognosi.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 666. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. Beside that he had of the merchantmen, and of the traffic of the spice merchants, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the governors of the country. whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God hath set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of God. To declare, I say, at this time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of him which believeth in Jesus.